Mark and Glenn back at it here Tuesday morning after a tremendous victory by the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football, beating the world champion Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium, the rematch of the Super Bowl last year. Glenn, Eagles did not play their best, but that's what championship teams do. They get gritty, gutty efforts.
They did. Well, I'm looking at these stats, and what the reason it was such a great game because they got killed, they got manhandled and won the game, which is a sign of a great football team. Couldn't throw it. It was a bad weather game. It was one of those games. Just don't turn it over, don't mess it up, and try to come out on top. They did. Hostile environment. No Taylor Swift, however, but a great win for a great football team. The best football team in the NFL right now.
The two things that you figure the Eagles may be the best in the league at, let's just break down the game a little bit. That a lot of people think they still have the best offensive line in the game.
Oh,
A
I
lot of
don't.
people,
That team last night may have put up a good argument. They may have.
well, my point being, forget coming into last night or whatever, they may have the best offensive line, with Johnson and Kelsey, Mailata, who I know you love very much, and they also have the best defensive line, at least the deepest defensive line now, and they got whipped on both sides of the line in the first half last night.
It was crazy. I didn't think that was possible with the fronts in football. Front wins the game. They got beat on both sides of the ball and still won the football game. Not really. But to see the Chiefs be able to run the football with Carter in there, that to me is the shocker. That's if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm worried. Wow, why were they able to run it, and why were they able to sack my quarterback so many times? So they got beat up on both sides. But humbling, good game for this time of the year. I gotta know. There's some of those guys are banged up and they're playing hurt, and it's obvious
Well, everyone's hurt this time of the year. I mean, everyone's banged up.
off their bye. So you would think that they would, they would be a little bit healthy. Even Hurts, that knee's still not right. You watch him go down. I watched him go down a couple times. He's still not healthy, which is why he's taking all those sacks. And teams are now blitzing him. They blitzed him last night. Spags brought some secondary blitzes, and got him. Where past, if Hurts' legs are healthy, he breaks through some of those blitzes, and his legs are a bigger issue. He can't run. The Eagles become more one dimensional. It's harder for the Eagles doing such a phenomenal job as a team, and they're not turning the ball over. So by not turning the ball over, they keep themselves in the game. That was a play. Are you frozen? I don't want to have to hold it. I think that's the problem. I think if I
So, Glenn, obviously playing in the NFL, what I got out of the game last night was, and everyone knows who watches the NFL, these games come down to like one play. Devontae Smith made the catch. Marquez Valdez Scantling didn't make the catch. I mean, yeah, granted, there was 59 minutes and 50 other seconds that go into everything that leads up to that. But the NFL, I mean, that's basically what it is these days.
yeah, that's when you get two good teams or you get to a close game in the NFL. Most of the games are a field goal game. It comes down to one or two plays. It's a game of millimeters, not just inches. But yeah, those are huge plays, and especially that was one unbelievable throw by Mahomes. It was 55 in the air, almost 60 yards in the air in a downpour. Scantling's got to come up with the ball. But I'm looking here. The most concerning thing I'm looking at is yards per rush and the sacks. It's like the who runs the ball in the Eagles? Well, the Chiefs did it. Then you talk about the offensive lines. Those are the two best offensive lines. You know what else has a good offensive line is the Houston Texans. But those are the two best offensive lines. So watch the center from the Chiefs work with
Creed Humphrey.
Those are the two best centers in the league, and you watch Carter he got handled last night a little bit.
Well, granted, I don't have the breakdown, but I would say a lot of those statistics, the 5.6 and all the 5 sacks were in the first half. So, whether it's Stoutland on the offensive line or the defensive line coach for the Eagles, Seems like they made the adjustments in the second half.
Well, no, I mean, you're splitting hairs here. I mean, this was going to be a heavyweight championship fight from the beginning, and it was. And again, you talked about the two passes, but yeah, it comes down to that. Like, one turnover here and there, or a non-turnover here and there. A bad call is going to determine these games, and a huge win for the Eagles because they got beat up. They got smacked around last night. Time of possession, rushing the ball, sacks against. Hurts got sacked 5 times. He's not the same guy when his legs are not healthy. I'm sorry, and his mechanics are brutal. If he works on his mechanics, he's got the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks to ever play until that line gets hurt. But his mechanics are brutal. When you see that, I see him throw, and he just doesn't have. He's never going to be a high completion percentage guy. And he actually had a good game last night. But when you get a game like that, he threw the ball 22 times, 14 of 22 with a pick, and then he got sacked 5 times. So, and they couldn't run the ball. That was the Eagles' offensive line couldn't do anything either. They gave up 5 sacks. They couldn't run the ball. The Eagles were 27. They ran for 114 yards, but they did score 3 touchdowns. Rushing touchdowns are great, and the tush push is really unbelievable. But
A couple things I want to bring up. You mentioned the turnovers. Obviously, the 2 red zone turnovers. Kevin Byard's interception in the end zone. The punching of the ball out on Kelsey as they got into the red zone. 2 humongous plays there. Can't fault you can't fault that.
no, and again, I just if the concerning thing is that how they're running. They ran the football on them. That's one thing when you go into an Eagles game. If you have a fantasy back, you're not playing them against the Eagles defensive line ever.
They came in only giving up 66 yards a game.
That's concerning, and that's a credit to the Chiefs offensive line. In a game where they're not going to throw the ball out. Now he threw the ball out at a low percentage. I think Mahomes was 24-43, but. Those receivers are brutal for Kansas City. They're brutal. I mean, it's like they have no thumbs. So, man, getting out of Tyreek Hill turns Mahomes into a mere mortal, and he's still
yeah, but he did win a Super Bowl without him last year.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's how what Tyreek. If Tyreek's still on that team, the Eagles get crushed last night, in my opinion. So that's how big of a guy. Look what he does for Tua. And he throws the ball on time to that guy. He just takes it for a touchdown. It's unbelievable. But it's a huge win for the Eagles.
One more thing about the Chiefs: Pat Mahomes, 2-time Super Bowl winner, best quarterback in the league. They haven't scored a point in their last 3 second halves. So, what do you attribute that to?
The receivers, and Kelsey's getting a little bit old. He's lost a step, and he's still having a good year. He's not having a great year, but the good teams will smack Kelsey.
He's having a good year. It might not be all on the field, but he's having a good year.
Little Trav's having a great year. But no, you can just see it, and you see it in Mahomes. His expression is like, oh, it's like, man, he throws the ball. You don't know if the guys are going to catch it. That's a horrible feeling as a quarterback. I've been there, and there's no. I mean, think about it. Who you got? You got no one. He's got no one to throw the ball other than Kelsey. And if the Patriots did to Kelsey the one game was, if they take him out, you can take Kelsey out of the game, but it's those other guys, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to teams. You punch him at the line, don't let him get off, double team, and then you got to throw to all those other guys who are 50-50 catching the ball when they're wide open. So
let me ask you. You mentioned about
Chiefs won't be there in the end because of those receivers.
You mentioned something, about Kelsey. About you can take him out of the game. How is it on so many plays though? He's so wide open and no one's near him. How does that even happen?
Well, because you have to play sound defense. So if you line 4 guys up to the left side of the ball and Kelsey up to the right, you got to put 4 guys on the left. So you can't leave guys uncovered.
But shouldn't someone have their eyes on him? At least someone. They talk about spies for quarterback. Can't you at least have one guy just make sure he's not wide open on any of these plays?
Yeah, but then you just took away the spy from Mahomes. So now his legs are deadly, and so you got to pick your poison. And that's why Tyreek Hill was such a big deal and it's such a good compliment in that offense, because now you have Mahomes who can pass and run. You have Kelsey who gets open all the time, and now you got to double Tyreek Hill. So they're mortal, but if they can run the ball, the Eagles, geez, if the Eagles stop the run, last night, they win that game pretty easily because those receivers were bad in Kansas City. I can't believe what they did. They got rid of two guys, brought them back. When was it Hardman and
Hardman.
or Tony? Oh, no, Tony's just been thrown around like a rag.
Yeah.
Either.
That was a microcosm of his career. He did some things early in the first half, and the second half he was pretty invisible.
Well, you see what they're doing. They're putting him in the backfield. They're handing the ball off because he's a phenomenal athlete, but just
correct.
Don't throw it to him because he has no thumbs. He's not gonna catch it. So he's like Jalen Reagor that way.
One guy on the Eagles side of the thing who's taking a little bit of heat this morning, Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator, throwing all those bubble screens and back to back. We talked about before we came on here. Some of the play calls were a little head scratching. You get 1 yard, you throw the bubble screen to the left, you come back, you complete the bubble screen to Julio Jones. That's another guy. He looks all of 86 years old out there.
They got him for red zone. For the red zone, they need to find a package for him. But the Eagles go as the offensive line goes. If the offensive line is playing well, no one's going to beat them. But the quick screens, the offense coordinator, you can't. You're hamstrung in the rain and on grass. If you're on AstroTurf, it's a different beast. You're on grass in the rain. You can't turn the ball over. So number one priority: don't turn the ball over. It becomes a field position game. You're going to punt the ball. You're going to play good defense. Hopefully, you can get a turnover, and you're going to try to win the game in the fourth quarter. And the Eagles did. It's a great win because you're going to lay a turd. You're going to have a bad game, and the idea is to have the bad game and still win, and they did that.
That was game 2 of the quote 6-game gauntlet that they're on. With Dallas, Kansas City, you got Buffalo coming to town, San Francisco coming to town, Dallas and at Seattle. So that's there's and then they finish off with the Arizona is sandwiched by 2 Giants games. So you figure they're going to get 3 wins there. You figure that.
Don't figure anything. DeVito played outstanding.
Oh, stop it.
And Tyler Murray's running around again like he's healthy. So
stop it.
He made some plays. No, and this is what happens in the NFL. Okay.
Tommy DeVito will not beat the Phillies. No shot. He was not good in college. I don't even know how he made the NFL, Glenn.
He was 15 of 20 against the Commanders.
That's great. Yeah.
He threw a seed to Saquon Barkley in the corner of the end zone.
That's great. There's a good organization there, the Commanders.
You love the Jets. You love the Jets and the Giants quarterbacks. You love my boy Zach. You love my boy DeVito.
Zach.
You got your
Glenn, good, and I'll just give this for reference. Me and Glenn, we text each other during the games, whatever. And since Rodgers ripped his Achilles, I mean, here we go. The Jet season's over. No. I get the Zach. It's his 3rd year. He should be maturing. Blah blah blah. I'm getting this for Glenn for 8 weeks. Don't worry about. So yesterday,
3-4 comeback victories.
He gets demoted to the 3rd team. I text Glenn that he's still too high on the depth chart.
Poor Joe Namath crushed him too. Joe needs to shut up. Joe needs to start drinking again. I want to kid. That was Susie Colbert, wasn't it?
Yeah, he wanted to kiss Susie Colbert. Just let's put a bow on the Eagles game, and we'll get to the Jets and a couple other NFL topics. A couple things. One thing about the Chiefs, and you as a former quarterback, you throw a ball, like you said, 60 yards in the air perfectly to Valdez-Scantling. He drops it. Granted, he made plays. He helped them win a Super Bowl last year. So you can't, I mean, what's he do? Just smack on the back and say, next time you'll catch it? I mean, that's it.
Yeah, that's what you got. You're on the ship, man. Parcells used to say that the ship leaves. You're either on the boat or you're not. These guys are on the boat together. You can't, what do you do? Kick them off the boat? So, and you can't go get a new guy. You can't go cut him and go sign someone from So it's like you tap him on the butt. You say, "Hey, next time, man." I said, what you do is you say, "I'm throwing you. I'm going to throw it to you again." So just keep your head around and get ready for it because I'm not going to not throw it to you.
Also, how does 6'1", 195-pound Glenn Foley? How would he have done with the tush push?
Me, I would have been the guy who, like, I'm trying to think who does it when they substitute the quarterback out and bring in like the third quarterback to come in
Yeah.
and play.
I mean,
No,
the
no,
Eagles did that one year with Jaworski and Randall Cunningham. They brought Randall Cunningham on third downs at the beginning of the year back in, I want to say, like 84.
yeah. I mean, there's guys that are just stronger and better at it. I mean, Brady was unbelievable at the quarterback sneak, and whereas Tom Coughlin, after a while, I didn't have. How about this? In college, I think I threw 80 or 85 touchdown passes,
Hmm,
zero rushing touchdowns in college.
you go.
I almost
So
went
let's
behind.
so let's get to the Jets now, real quickly. Your former team and Zach Wilson. I think this has been 3 or 4 weeks overdue to get him on the bench. And I told you the guy who Aaron Rodgers kind of handpicked to come, Tim Boyle, he's going to get Aaron Rodgers back on the field because the Jets are going to win some games and they're going to be in contention. And Rodgers thinks he's coming back in mid December. You don't think so, knowing
Well,
what
so
you know about Achilles
no,
injuries.
so in your opinion, the offensive line is just great, and the quarterback's going to come in and
He
light.
holds the ball so long.
But I'm just don't we have to see what happens when the next guy comes in? Because we've seen too.
Well,
Now,
we'll
the
see.
first guy who's our franchise, he didn't just fall down. One of the offensive linemen whiffed, and he had to spin out and go to his do a circle spin, and he blew his leg out because his offensive line whiffed. Okay, the second guy comes in. They can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball. They have zero. They have one touchdown in like 5 games, and you're going to blame. Everyone's going to blame the quarterback. It's like firing Jimbo Fisher, fire Matt Rule, fire Frank Reich, fire the guy in Chicago. You fucking idiots! It's not about the coach. The fucking owner in Carolina, he's worse than Daniel Snyder. He's the worst owner I've ever seen in my life. My brother, him, and it's like, wait, well, he's picking the players, he's picking the coaches. He took the Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud, and that wasn't Frank Reich. Now he's going to fire Frank Reich like it was his fault. David Tepper
Reich will get 2 or 3 years there, then they'll fire him.
because David Tepper really truly believes that he's the general manager and he knows all. David Tepper he's the biggest egomaniac I've ever seen in my life. He came into the NFL in year one thinking he knew football and started telling the coaches who their whole life is football, coach. And the guy just has no, and he would show up whenever he wanted. It was just brutal, and he's still doing it. He made Matt Rule and Frank Reich look like bozos, and they're unbelievably. They're not just smart football coaches, excellent. They're genius people. They're super high IQ.
Yeah, look what Matt Rule's doing with Nebraska now. He's
Now the Panther fans going, "Oh, the Matt Rule era was awful." Now we got the Frank. It's not. It's the David Tepper era. He's the worst owner. He's worse than David Snyder. The facilities are brutal. Worst facilities in the league. Panthers. Worst owner in the league. Panthers. Worst general managing. Panthers. Worst owner that's involved with the team's personnel. Panthers. All Panthers. Awful. Brutal. And then they're never going to be good in Carolina because nobody wants to go there and play.
and I don't know. I haven't seen the draft. Did they give up their first round pick in that Bear trade?
They're 1-9 and they have no first. The Bears have their pick. The Bears are going to be loaded. The Bears got to get rid of Fields though. Fields can't throw at all. He can't. Him and Hurts. And now Hurts has intangibles, and Hurts is a great football player. Fields is just a runner. So, but you watch. I'm waiting, and you Philly fans, you guys are in for a rude awakening when Mailata will be there for the remainder of his career. Kelsey's going to retire, and Lane's going to retire. When those guys retire, Jalen Hurts will get cut. That's how.
Well, here's the thing: you got to give Howie credit. He's.
I love.
But the thing is, he'll know how to replace these guys. They actually have two centers next to Kelsey. Brandon Dickerson was an All-American center in Alabama, and Juergens was a great center at Nebraska. So one of those guys, I think Juergens will slide right in there. And
he's not going to be. He's not. I don't care how good he is. He's not going to be Kelsey.
Well, I mean, Kelsey's one of the best centers of all time.
But when Kelsey retires and Lane retires, you got two of the best players of all time at their respective positions. You're going to see a totally different quarterback.
I'm going to give Howie the benefit of the doubt, saying he's going to get good quality players in there to replace him.
You're not going to get Kelsey and Lane Johnson ever again. That's point.
I mean,
And watch, you're gonna get another Carson Wentz situation in Philly where all of a sudden, oh, Jalen Hurts can't play because he how he just get rid of him because he can't throw. I mean, he literally goes.
come on.
He's got. I'm telling you, and he's there's not a quarterback in the NFL that would not win in Philadelphia. The wide receivers are phenomenal. Great tight end, best offensive line in the league. It's impossible to fail at quarterback in Philly.
Why you got to bring up my guy Carson Wentz, who's the backup quarterback now for the Los Angeles Rams?
Philly, he would be that MVP quarterback again because of the
Carson.
and he's got the wide receivers he's got. Unbelievable. Howie, I killed Howie for years. I killed him for years. I killed him on Philly radio, killed him on national radio, and then he got good. Frank showed up, and Joe Douglas showed up. I don't know what they taught him, but all of a sudden, Howie got good, and now he's the best GM in the NFL.
I was watching the red zone, so I'm watching the Rams game, and I see Stafford get banged around a couple of times. I started ducking because I was figuring Wentz was coming in. So,
Hey,
but
Carson can be good in a system that has great players, and he showed that in Philly. He was MVP the one. He was the MVP. The year that they won it, he was MVP.
So real quickly, it's Tuesday. The Buffalo Bills, who last week were left for dead, they played Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. They get healthy again. They're Super Bowl contenders again. All of a sudden, that's what happens when you play against Zach Wilson, and who'll be out. Who will be out of the league? He'll be out of the league by 2025. Guarantee it. Book it. It's over.
I think he'll end up like Darnold, where he's a good enough athlete and he can throw the ball. Where someone will pick him up and think that they can revitalize his career, Rams or Raiders or something. But no, the problem with these young quarterbacks is they don't get enough time in college. You need 3 to 4 years of playing college football before you get to the NFL and think you're going to have any success.
Well, they should have picked him second overall to be a franchise player.
That's a bad job. And Mekhi Becton, bad job. And we're going to find out Tim Boyles how good he is. But I'm telling you, we're in for a barbaric failure here too. This is going to be disastrous. And Zach had 3 fourth quarter comebacks when the team was. I think they got the 5-5, if I'm not mistaken. They were at one point 5-5. But anyway, I just think that Boyle's going to look worse. And they have one. Garrett Wilson's a decent wide receiver. He's probably a 2.
He's good.
Would be a 3 on the Eagles team though. For the Eagles, he'd be 3. So that's my point. When you see how great Jalen Hurts has been, he's got the best talent in the league around him. So Zach Wilson happens to have no talent around him and no offensive line. He doesn't have
and he stinks.
The problem is any quarterback stinks with a bad offensive line and bad wide receivers. So I would like to see Zach in Philly. That would be great. See behind Kelsey and Lane and Mailata and having those wide receivers for him. I mean, I think I could have been a Pro Bowler with behind the Eagles. And that was
and any MILF in the Philadelphia area would think they have a chance then.
I mean, if I would start chalking up how many moms I had before I got out of the league. I'd be chalking up moms on my belt.
So real quickly, we're going to end it here. I was getting at the Buffalo Bills coming to town on Sunday. They got healthy against the Jets. They were, they fired the offense coordinator, Ken Dorsey, just a week ago today or a week ago yesterday. What do you think? I mean, Josh Allen, they got some confidence now. I mean, that this is a team. This is a Super Bowl talent type of team. Obviously they haven't been able to break through with this group, with this core of players. Tough game on Sunday down at the Link. Eagles are only 3.5-point favorites. I say that you figure you got 3 points from being at home. Coming off a short week on Monday night too.
Yeah, I think the Eagles smashed the Bills. Now the Bills will stay in the game because the Eagles secondary shaky and Allen makes plays. So, but he also turns the ball over.
I was going to say he's been making plays for the other team too. Yeah. So that's
ebbs and flows in the NFL are weird because the team will start playing good. Look what the Broncos are doing. Broncos got beat 70-20 or something early in the year. They're the worst team of all time. Now they're in the playoffs. So guys get healthy, teams get healthy, guys come back. Milano's out for the Bills. That's what kills them. So the Eagles will be able to run the ball, throw the ball. I want the secondary in Buffalo's average at best. They lost their middle linebacker. Milano broke his leg bad. It was an awful.
Yeah, and he's the heart and soul of that defense. Yeah.
Maybe the best middle linebacker in the NFL. So they lose that. He's a total battery on the defense, the captain, blah blah blah. So the Eagles will score points in this game. Can they stop Allen and the offense? They looked good last week, but hostile environment. I see a 34-20 Eagles win here. That's it. Eagles will come back. And they will get better. Some teams come back after a break and just are unstoppable. Other teams, they got to shake off the cobwebs. I think the Eagles come back and smack the Bills this week. I really.
Well, that's our show for today. Glenn, got a lot of good NFL talk. I'm just waiting for when the Patriots make their move to get rid of Belichick. You know what that means?
Someone's talking about trading for Belichick. I think it was the Commanders or Sixers own down there, right? Down in Washington.
Yeah, that's another story for another day. That's another podcast. No. The reason why I'm waiting for that because as soon as Belichick is gone, he's still on your Rolodex, Glenn. He's coming on, right?
Yeah, no, that's easy. He's a great guy too, and he provides a tremendous sense of humor. His sense of humor is second to none. He's got a dry sense of humor, but he's great.
So
loved his dog at the draft, and then he takes the pick and he comes and gives the dog a treat. That's my favorite.
So as soon as Kraft gives him the old pink slip, well, he's not publicly going to get the pink slip. He's going to quote resign.
These people who they just love to hate. Rex Ryan's one of them. He's so jealous of him.
What I'm saying is, I just like when Andy Reid was here. It just sometimes you're just in a place and it just runs its course. He's been there,
but you're gonna go out. He's going out on. If you Kraft is classy enough, even though he loves the Washington.
He'll never fire him. I mean, he'll fire him, but.
They're going to go out. It'll be Bill's last game. He's going to do it right. They'll give him the standing O, the parade, the moment of silence, blah, 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 the whole stopping of the game. They'll do all that for him in the final game because they're done. I do think this is it for him.
And he'll be offered a job as a consultant to the GM.
Hey, there's the Shula records within reach, if I'm not mistaken. You have to look.
You think he'll go somewhere if he's not coaching the Patriots next year?
Record, and I think he'll go somewhere if offered. Like a good spot for Belichick would be a San Diego, where where he knows
Chargers.
He's got a quarterback. He'll want to go somewhere. Chicago's another spot. He'll get rid of that quarterback. He'll have the first pick. He'll get Caleb Williams, and then he'll be off and running in Chicago. So that's something Belichick might do.
You figure the Chargers. You figure the Bears. You figure Washington, as you mentioned. Trying to think what other jobs would be out there.
There's going to be a lot of them because these owners are assholes and they just fire people because the Carolina Panthers will be there, but he'll never go there. He's going to go somewhere where there's an established quarterback. San Diego or Chicago makes sense for him.
Keep calling him San Diego. You can't get Dan Fouts out of your mind. They're the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, you know me. I still sing Houston Oilers and wonder why they're ever allowed to be sold. So the Houston Oilers song.
That's another one. You think Vrabel's a heck of a coach, and
he is. But when you don't have a quarterback, you're asked. Just to ask Belichick, ask Tannehill's hurt, and now you're dealing with rookie quarterbacks, which is your worst nightmare as a head coach in the NFL because you're dealing with a guy who's basically playing blind.
So, there you have it. We'll be back later in the week. We'll preview the Bills and the Eagles, and I'm sure there'll be some comings and goings in the NFL. You got your Phillies hat in honor of the Aaron Nola signing.
Yes, I love the signing. Give him the ball at home during the day, and then we got to bring in Trout, and we're also going to get who's out?
Japanese pitcher,
Ohtani, and the Japanese pitcher, and we'll be good.
Yeah, and ticket prices will be like $1,000 a piece. Paying all these guys. That's our show. We'll talk to you again.
Peace.